I'm Jason Carter, and I'm sick and tired of the pussification of America.
And I'm Steve McCollum, and I'm tired of preseason lists, expectations, rankings, and all the fun stuff that they come out with this time of year.
The Main Event Podcast, it's next. Welcome to the Main Event Podcast. Jason Carter along with Steve McCullum.
Hello.
And it is week one of college football in the books. Week one NFL season, get ready to start. My favorite time of year. You can tell me right now it's my favorite time of year because I'm all over my Twitter, my social handles. I'm just lighting it up right now. And you can light it up with me in the Main Event Podcast as well by liking the Main Event Podcast on Facebook at the Main Event Pod.
And me.
And on Twitter at Main Event Podcast or at the Main Event Pod as well. You screwed me up there, Steven. And then you can also follow me at Jason Carter03 on Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, all three. And it's Steven. Where are you at?
SMAC 500 on all the socials as well. I was just being a jackass to Jason there. So SMAC 500 on every site, and then of course Gestalt Production, which we mentioned, for all of our encompassing stuff.
Yes, go to gestaltproduction.com and also the maineventpodcast.com. You can check out the podcast right there. You don't need the Podbean app. You don't need iTunes. You can just check it out right there at themaineventpodcast.com. I do want to thank you for subscribing. However you're listening to, we are in iTunes, Spotify, and Podbean. And bringing it to you. I actually think this uploads on YouTube too. I don't know how, but it just uploads on YouTube. Somebody's YouTube channel. I've seen it on there. I don't know
really?
Which one,
No, we're actually playing with
it's on YouTube.
Little down the pipeline. We're actually playing with live feed broadcasting coming up here and messing around with that a little bit to get that going for live feed podcasting. For those of you that sit around and like to see our ugly mugs on the computer.
Well, if the day comes when we do live feed, I'm wearing a suit, three-piecing, do my hair, get my shoes shined. I'm gonna be looking nice.
That's how you look now. What's different?
True, but I look better for.
He's in his pajamas, folks.
I'm not in pajamas. I'm just wearing some shorts, little Under Armour shirt.
You purposely put those plaid pants on?
These are shorts, actually. They're black, gray, silver stripes, I guess you can say. My Under Armour shirt, my Under Armour shoes, because you know what? I support.
Oh, here we go. Let's go right into it.
I support Under Armour, and I have. And look, this isn't because I'm boycotting anything. I've been a Under Armour guy since last summer.
He has.
When I turned 30, I made the switch. I got rid of everything Nike. And it wasn't like I wasn't pissed off at Nike. I was just like, you know what? Nike, not really appealing to a 30-year-old white dad. So I went to Under Armour. I've never been happier. I feel rejuvenated in my life. And now I'm seeing all this Nike. And well, they have a lot of freedom stuff, you know, about America, USA. So I love all that stuff.
Well, they're made in America, unlike Nike.
But everything I see on this Nike Kaepernick thing is just making me laugh so hard. People burning their shoes, Steven.
Yeah, and cutting their socks and cutting the logo out. Like, people. I told you this story. So yesterday we were going to the gym. Quick little story here for everybody. And I go in my closet, and I have a lot of Nike stuff. Like, I don't go out of my way to buy Nike, but if I find a nice Nike shirt, I'll buy it and wear it, right? And I'm sitting there like, oh, I can't wear Nike to the gym today. Like, people are gonna judge me, right? And then I'm sitting there going, oh, crap, I already bought it. Who cares? I'm like, why are people burning their stuff? Nike's already got the money, so why change it now?
And if you haven't heard, you're living under a fucking rock. Nike came out with this ad on when did this drop? Tuesday? It dropped? Or was it Monday?
Monday. And it's their 30th anniversary of the Just Do It campaign.
And it's a picture of Colin Kaepernick, all afroed out and everything like that. It says, believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. Underneath it says, Nike check, just do it. Everybody went crazy because that's all the ad was. Today, though, we actually got to see the commercial. Commercial wasn't as bad as what we thought. The ad definitely, I could see where the ad's going to rile some people up, but after watching the commercial, I was like, oh, okay, like, this isn't too bad.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it before this, obviously, but the commercial was a standard Nike ad. They feature, people that, I don't know how to explain it, disabilities or things they want to do, but they're shunned from it. Like, there was a girl that wanted to be a cheerleader and a linebacker, and things like that.
A boy wrestling with no legs. Like, that's pretty sweet.
There was definitely some imagery issues with the ad. I pointed out to you that you didn't really catch out on. But other than that, I mean, it was a standard ad. You literally don't need to pay Colin Kaepernick however much they're paying him to run that ad, though. Like, there was nothing special. You and I could have done the voiceover and whatever on that ad, and the ad would have come out exactly the same on there. He's not hyping anything he's doing. He's not an elite member. I don't care what you say. People that love Kaepernick, you are supporting a social person that's social causes. You're not supporting an athlete. Stop with this crap about how Kaepernick needs a job in the league. He got benched. The NFL didn't want him. He chose a different path. Nike's been paying him since 2011. They re-upped the deal to come out with this campaign. It was a genius marketing move by Nike. We all agree with that. But the commercial didn't even really state what the print ad came out with. It didn't focus on sacrifice everything, which was a great move by Nike because, in my opinion, you don't take a guy that lost his NFL job and turned down other jobs in the NFL to go do social stuff as a guy that sacrifices everything. Oh, boo-hoo, he took his millions and went home? No. He didn't sacrifice everything, folks.
And I will tell you right now, to further your point of how people are like, Kaepernick needs a starting job. Kaepernick no longer is an athlete, which I totally get. If you're like, hey, why the hell does Nike get behind a guy who's not an athlete? He's a political figure. I totally get that. Like, sports and politics to me don't match. Never liked it. Never have. Never will.
That's all it is.
Iranian dictator Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. Don't know. Probably butchered that last name. Let me know, Jihad, if I did or not. Don't really give a fuck. All right. He said Monday as well, the NFL season will start this week. Unfortunately, once again, at Kaepernick 7, they're on at terms. He's at them. Is not on an NFL roster, even though he is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. If you have Iranian dictator taking your side, you're no longer an athlete. Like, I don't see him. He wasn't harping on Tom Brady, when he won his 5th Super Bowl last year. He was like, oh man, Tom Brady, number 5. Man, that guy's the GOAT. I didn't see that out of Mohammed Akaba.
My favorite part of that is everybody. Like, my favorite tweet after that was somebody, and I don't remember who, so I apologize for not giving you props. But they said that. They literally retweeted it. It was like, if you're got an Iranian dictator.
Ted Cruz, right?
Oh, that was Ted Cruz. Yeah, he was like, if you got an Iranian dictator that abuses his people and kills people with weapons of mass destruction defending you, you're probably on the wrong side. Because that's the other thing a lot of people are doing, like our buddy Bruce came out today and said, and I retweeted him back and was like, settle down. But it's because Kaepernick's on the right side of history. Like, we don't even know what side of history Kaepernick's on yet because, one, we're right in the middle of it. And two, what is he fighting for? Do you even know? Because, oh my God, he's fighting for injustices in communities, but you don't hear him say anything. So what is he fighting for? What injustices? Okay, some cops killed some African-American children, and he wants to fight out against that. Cool. Then why are you wearing pig socks? Why are you wearing, not Gaddafi, Castro shirts in Miami, celebrating Cuba's better than America? This is a mixed message bag. It's been convoluted. Most of the people arguing Kaepernick's side are arguing that he should be starting in the NFL, which is not right, people. He's been out of the league for 2 years. He ain't coming back. And if he does, he's going to be awful. And then nobody knows what the guy's actually fighting for and this is the first time we've heard from the guy in how many years? I told you today. I don't even know what the guy sounds like anymore.
2 years ago is when he took the knee. It was 2 years ago when he took the knee. Obviously, you heard from him, after that, just, him talking in interviews, but it wasn't about the knee anymore. It was more about the football game. So, I mean, if you look at the back date, the guy was benched, or he wasn't starting. He was actually,
he was benched.
He wasn't the starting quarterback. Preseason game, somebody sees him taking a seat, boom, puts a picture up. He's having a seat during the anthem. He's like, hey, this is weird. And everybody's like, who the hell is this asshole? And then he's like, well, I'm fighting oppression. So then, once that got said, that's when it's like, all right, well, now it's this side against this side. And the media, what'd they do? They said, well, this is an anthem protest. And that's where everything kind of got confused and blurry. And I totally get that. I get, hey, he's not protesting the national anthem. I'll be the first one to get it. But if you're going to protest, why do it during the national anthem? If you're not protesting the anthem, don't do it during the anthem. It just looks, it's a bad look, all right? Well, and I think everybody can agree it's a bad look.
Well, you saw my Twitter conversation. It wasn't a battle with that guy that was totally on Kaepernick's side, the reporter who was hyping that stuff. And I flat out told him, I said, yeah, the media messed this up. The liberal left media messed it up by saying it was anthem protest because they thought that was going to shove it down the NFL fans' throats and the conservatives they don't like. So that's the angle they took, and it totally backfired on them. And now nobody knows. And it's not about the anthem, I agree 1,000%, but the narrative is it's about the anthem now, and you're not changing anybody's mind that thinks that. And unfortunately, most people think that. A lot of people do. So you got to find a different place to protest. And the reason why you got to do that is because 6 people protested in the 4th game of the preseason. 6 out of how many people? So it's going by the wayside and all that stuff. They're finding different ways of doing stuff. But, I'm all for Kaepernick being a social justice warrior or whatever you call that position, because Lord knows I am not. I'm just living my bubble. But doesn't the leader of that movement have to come out and say something at some point?
That's not scripted from Nike.
Exactly.
So you fast forward from that day, and you look out like, all right, cool, it's fighting oppression. Like, all right, I probably would have done it somewhere else, but hey, you know what? Teaches up. Fast forward from that, he does wear the cop socks like he talked about, that detected cop
on the field,
pigs on the practice field.
No, warming up for a game.
Oh, was it actually warming up for a game? I thought
warming
it was
up for a game. No.
Well, either way, bad fucking luck. So it's like, all right, dude, like, we got it, if you want this to end, if you think this is happening and cops are just kind of shooting black guys at will, I wouldn't wear those socks because that kind of looks bad for the message you're trying to cross over here. Not a good look for you, but whatever, do what you gotta do. Okay. And that's when I was like, all right, I'm kind of not all for your cause, whatever, dude, you're fighting a lost battle here. Anyways, you fast forward, he talked to a veteran Army Ranger who said he could take a knee, so now everybody has to be like, oh, well, a vet said he could take a knee, so blah, 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 blah. That's really going to make America happy? No, it's not, all right? We're all just going to be pissed off either way because we already set in our stones which way we're already leaning. Anyways, go ahead, move forward. Last year, Donald Trump, he's always been fighting this battle about players protesting. He called players sons of bitches. Next thing you know, everybody took a knee in week 3 of the NFL season last year, or week 4?
Yeah, it was 3 or 4.
It was early.
When the Cowboys were here playing. They did that whole team thing before the anthem here in Phoenix.
Yeah, and nobody knew what was going on. And people were like, oh my god, we'll find out if this team's deciding to take a knee, who's taking a knee, who's not, yada, yada, yada. And then, after that, that's where I was like, this, whole, knee thing is totally bogus now, because you had the coaches who are like, yeah, I think they took a knee because of, the comments Trump made, so you took a knee because the guy called you a son of a bitch. Okay, stop.
And the coaches called every player on the field that name or worse that week at practice.
Yeah,
right?
Probably even during the game.
I watched Hard Knocks. There's a lot worse said than sons of bitches.
Right, and then you have, players saying we're fighting in racism, which, I've said time on this show, I don't think, member of the Klan's going to wake up, see Ray Lewis take a knee and say, you know what, I'm done being racist, let me turn in my white cape and sheets, and we're done with that. Thank you, Ray Lewis, for taking that knee during the anthem. So it was like, all right, don't see that happen. Then you have other people like, oh, we're still fighting for oppression. Then people are, now we're fighting for equality. What the hell are you effing fighting for? Nobody knew. And then whatever, players are taking a knee here. Ratings kind of dropped last year because, most Americans are conservative white guys who bet on football, and they decided, you know what, maybe have something else better to do with our Sunday afternoons and we'll watch football. So ratings took a dip. Then you bring this out, and here we are. Is that a good timeline and everything?
Yes.
Yeah, I think pretty much.
You got to have good. You left out some details, but it's good enough. But,
yeah, whatever.
I mean, there's multiple things. Okay, I get it. So Nike, did this ad or whatever. And like I said, I actually enjoyed the ad that came out. I'm not a guy that, to be honest with you, falls on either side. The thing that I'm annoyed about is that the argument from the Kaepernick side is he should have a starting job. And that drives me absolutely batty. Because Michael Vick killed the most apprehensive thing that Americans think you can do, and he fought pit bull dogs against each other. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things you can do. You can kill a person, Ray Lewis, and I know he didn't do it, so don't take me verbatim, just know the story.
Simpson.
O.J. Simpson, and people are still like, oh man, they were the greatest football players ever, right?
Right.
And Ray Lewis got to come back and play. Michael Vick literally had dogs fighting, which is the most apprehensive thing you can do to a lot of people in this country.
I mean,
and he got a second chance.
You see those commercials where they show the dogs and that sad music? You have to turn them off because you start crying. Like,
The
Michael
ASPA
Vick was
commercial.
terrible. Yeah.
I know. And he got a second chance. The league is full of opportunities and second chances if you're good enough. How many, I know I rib on the Cowboys a lot, Jason, but how many guys the one guy killed his buddy drunk driving one night on the Cowboys, and he was playing by the end of that season.
Yeah.
You get a second
Greg
chance.
Hardy?
Yeah, you get a second chance in this league to come back from horrible things that you do in your life and bad decisions you make. If you don't get that opportunity, you're either not good enough or you're not smart enough to take the opportunity at the time. And I don't know which one it is, but it's one of those two for Kaepernick. And that's what drives me the most crazy about this whole argument, is that people are like, it's racist. And that drives me batty because not everything's racist, people. And then two, if he had the opportunity and he passed it up, that's on him. But the guy's making starting advertising money advertising for Nike right now, and without playing. Why would you even pick up a football? My thing is just come out and tell us what you're protesting and stuff so we know. Because I've been reading all these comments on, so literally every comment is something. Oh, he's doing this, he's doing that, he's doing this, he's doing that. He's fighting this, he's fighting that. How about we clarify it?
Yeah,
Right?
I think that's all we want is just clarification. Like, what do you do? I mean, even
I'll support your
the-
cause. If you're against police brutality, Lord knows I am. Cops are good people when you need them, but there's a lot of asshole cops out there. I'm just gonna say it. I'll be the first one standing behind Kaepernick going, that guy beat that guy up, and that's not called for, and that guy needs to go to jail for it. I'm right there standing behind you, but you gotta tell me the reason you're doing it and what we're going for, because I'm not gonna stand behind you and then you wear pig socks or anything like that, because that's not the way to get the message done.
And even after that season that he was taking, he said, "Hey, I think I see enough change next year. I'm gonna stand if I get on with the team." And even then, still didn't get on with the team. Although he did have offers that he turned down.
He went
and now he's suing the NFL.
He went worked out for Seattle, and Seattle asked him point blank. I don't remember the exact story. You can look it up. But Seattle asked him point blank what his plans were for the anthem, and they weren't convinced he wasn't gonna kneel. And Seattle, rightfully so, they have a right to put whoever on the team that they want to. And if Seattle and the ownership and the coaching staff is not comfortable with having somebody that's going to kneel during the national anthem, whether you agree with it or not, they have the right to tell you to pack sand and we're not going to hire you. Why is it in this country that we all have to support Kaepernick and his stuff and his motions and all the stuff he does, but we can't stand up also for the NFL owners that don't want a guy like that on their team? What is wrong with this?
Not just NFL owners in general. Like, you go work somewhere. You can't protest on the company dime, can you? Like, you can't go, hey, you know what? I gotta leave this work party right now, or I gotta leave my day job right now and go protest that Donald Trump's president.
I'll give you an example.
Out in the streets, they'll be like, all right, well, you're fired because you're skipping out of work early.
In a previous world, when I worked for big companies, a guy had the weekend off, went out, stole a bunch of batteries from Walmart, got arrested, but he showed up to work Monday morning. You know how we found out he stole the batteries? It was in the newspaper on Monday morning, right? And that's a bad look for a company. So that's what we had to let him go. Like, you have perceptions, but this is my thing that bothers me the most about it is everybody wants us to be like, Kaepernick deserves this and that and this and that, but these guys can't do this to Kaepernick because that's against, that's not right and that's racist and, they're just keeping a man down or whatever. No, they have a right to not hire the guy. The guy has a right to do what he wants to do. Eric Reed has a right. I feel sorry for Eric Reed. I'll talk on that in a second. But everybody has a right to do this stuff, but it just seems like when you're a left-winging social media guy and you're on that case, it's like you can't be talked to or shouted down or told you're doing something wrong or we're not going to hire you because of that, because then you get thrown all these labels at you. But we can attack NFL owners every day of the week for not hiring the guy because they stood their ground and were like, I don't want that guy on my team, which a lot of people agree with. A lot of the people that buy tickets for the NFL agree with. But I feel sorry mostly for Eric Reid because he was the guy. Eric Reid's the guy we should be celebrating. Because Kaepernick just renewed his multi-million-dollar Nike contract, has all these ads and everything. Eric Reid was fighting the exact same battle as Kaepernick, did it by his side, helped him plan it, talked to everybody about it, and Eric Reid doesn't have a job today either. And Eric Reid doesn't have the multi-million-dollar Nike contract and the promotion ads. And Eric Reid was right there by Kaepernick. And all y'all people are just like, cap this and cap this and cap that. What about Eric Reid? That's the guy that sacrificed everything, not Kaepernick, because Kaepernick's still getting paid millions of dollars with Nike, and Eric Reid isn't getting paid by anybody. And that's the travesty here that nobody pays attention to because everybody wants this to be about Kaepernick not getting a starting job.
I mean, we look at travesties, regardless of that. I mean, you mentioned, a guy stole batteries, saw a newspaper. We watched Hard Knocks this year when the rookie wideout from Florida, Callaway, is that the name? Callaway
Jr.
Got pulled over, had a roach clip or something like roach marijuana for those of you.
In a brand new car.
Yeah, in a brand new car he just bought.
He bought it that way.
Apparently he buys the brand new cars after they smoke out. Got it from the Dazed and Confused lot. But he had this marijuana roach in his car, and literally didn't tell anybody. It was all over the news. Oh, hey, this happened. So, and then it's like, oh crap. And the coach was like, hey man, look, you're still with us. He made the team. And Hugh Jackson was like, you got to be straight with me about this next time. If that was corporate world, I'd be fired.
Well, I mean, you can go to the next example where the guy gets
DUI.
Well, no,
a lot of guys get fired.
Yeah, no, but we can go a step farther on the Browns thing, and the guy gets caught for insider trading, and was it Fredericks and
Kendricks.
No, Kendricks.
So Kendricks gets caught for insider trading.
And they release him.
I don't know what's word. I know nothing about insider trading.
Well,
I thought it was just doing something with your stocks. Good on you.
We talked about this last. Well, it's basically stealing. We talked about this on another podcast where I was like, I don't, insider trading's bad, but it's not viewed as bad, like
other things.
Yeah,
that we think of
like a
as
DUI
bad.
is way worse than insider trading I think in society's mind, not in punishment and stuff, but that type of stuff. But anyway, let's go to something happier.
Yeah, something happier.
Ranters, Hard Knocks.
Well, what were we ranting? I still didn't get to finish my rant, actually.
Oh, I thought you were done.
No, my rant wasn't on Kaepernick, actually. My rant was on the pussification of America. Nothing to do with sacrificing things in America that we deem are sacrificable or not. But my initial rant is actually, so me. I'm on Twitter, I went to media school, I want to be a broadcaster, do things, big things. Actually, applied at, Pac-12 Network, I applied there. Big Ten Network, applied there. Hey, just trying to get these jobs, right? And, now I'm kind of glad I didn't get these jobs, because news came out on Saturday after Braylon Edwards, who I guess used to play for Michigan, correct?
Yes, and the Browns, I believe, right?
Yeah, he got drafted that somewhere. But anyways, used to play with Michigan. Now he works for the Big Ten Network. And he mentioned something about Michigan this past week. They came out, lost their first game to Notre Dame. He called out a couple players, said this guy's soft, this guy's weak. Come on, guys, man the hell up, let's go. And got suspended by the Big Ten Network, actually, for his comments on Twitter because Jim Harbaugh, the most overrated coach in Big Ten history, got offended.
I don't know if he's the most overrated, but he, and I don't have the tweets in front of me, I don't know if you do, but he attacked two players personally, right? Which these are college kids,
Get them ready for the pros, man. Just get them ready for the pros. That's all I'm saying. You got to sack up sometime. You're playing football. Right? You're playing football. Worse things are going to get said about you than, Ruiz is weak. So-and-so needs to do this.
No. College, you do not go after individual players. It's not the same.
What, we can talk them up on all these Heisman lists, right, Steve? But we can't go after them when they fail? No. I think you can go after him. Anyways, Edwards did come out.
You can go after them for not performing. You can't attack them personally. They're young men. They're learning a craft. They're young people. They make mistakes. They aren't professional. They aren't getting paid large sums of money to perform, so we can make fun of them.
Well,
they are...
Not large sums. They're in some sums.
But attacking them personally is where you cross the line, and that's what I believe he did, right?
Well, yeah, Edwards did come out today, and he said, it was a mistake to mention Ruiz and Patterson. He said his brother, Berkeley Edwards, is a running back on the team. Edwards says he plans to reach out to both players through his brother this week. He says, I apologize for that. This is, I quote, he says, I'm a man. We make mistakes. I'm sorry. I should not have gone that way. I still agree with the overall message. What do we do now as a program? But I apologize. Shouldn't name individual players. They're still kids. That's what I apologize for. But then he goes on to say, people did that to me. Former coach Lloyd Carr called me out in the media. I didn't complain and moan. Do I wish it would have been done differently? I would not have called out Cesar Ruiz, Shea Patterson. You're not supposed to do that, and I shouldn't have. I should have been an overall message about the program, which I still would have kind of got. I think Harbaugh would have got mad at anyways, because he called Ruiz weak, called Patterson scared. I don't know.
No, I don't disagree. You should. The problem is the Big Ten Network obviously has a lot of influence put on them by coaches and everything. I agree. Like college kids, you cannot attack personally. You can say they weren't good. You can say they didn't do their job on the field. You can say they didn't show up to the game. But you can't go after and say he's weak. His mom's... I know you didn't go that far. But you can't be like, your mom's embarrassed she had you.
She should have swallowed.
Like, you can't go that route with college kids. But, but there is another side to this that you're getting on there that, man, Michigan picked up the phone and called Big Ten Network and got this guy suspended.
Which, I personally, I don't think that's like the worst one. Like Edwards, got suspended for it. Mark Jones, actually, I feel more bad for Mark Jones, even though he didn't get suspended, just got taken off of Washington Huskies games after tweeting out after the loss against Auburn, which was, obviously a big game on Saturday, Auburn versus Washington. He said, Washington Huskies took one on the chin. Where's Montana? The tweet did not sit well with the Pac-12 and University of Washington. Jones was actually the announcer of the infamous Cal game last year when the sideline reporter, Quint Kesenich, laid down 3 cupcakes on Washington's turf to signify its 2017 non-conference schedule. And to make matters worse, Jones also called Patterson irrescapable. I don't even know. Irrescapable and somewhat cantankerous? What the hell is this?
Cantankerous.
Cantankerous, that's a weird word.
He's kind of grumpy.
Yeah, so he says, apparently Husky fans were mad about that. Then Sunday, he sent out that tweet initially on Sunday. Then on Monday said, hey, don't get me wrong, I still think Washington's having a great season. Losing to Auburn in the backyard is a lot better than what a team like Miami did to their CFP chances. All love Seattle. Shout out to the brothers at Green Lake Park. But damage was already done. Pac-12 issued a statement saying we're aware of the inappropriate comments in this tweet and have addressed it with ESPN. So,
I don't understand what the inappropriate comment is in that. So, like I said, I was like, what's the inappropriate comment here?
Saying, Washington took one on the chin today. Where's Montana? Because, your last couple of years have been pretty...
If you know what the inappropriate comment is, I would love to know because I don't understand that one. You know what the bigger shock for me out of this whole thing is, besides the fact that schools can pick up the phone and complain to their network about unfavorable treatment? Well, first of all, Harbaugh, show up to a game for once. How about that? Show up to a big game for once, Harbaugh, and people won't talk bad about you guys and your players. Second of all, Washington, they actually hung in that game. I was telling you, I was like, I'm okay if Washington loses as a Pac-12 guy. They just can't go and get blown out, And that's exactly what they did, so I was actually happy with it, they could have played better. I am not a fan of these big games for the first game of the year. They need to be second games, but besides that...
Well, you know why they do it, though.
I know, but I'm more impressed...
Because it's back, it's all about the ratings, so you gotta...
Oh, I know. Yeah, and everybody's overranked,
and you get them on those neutral zone sites.
Yeah, which I can't stand either.
Big feel.
I can't stand it either.
Oh, I love that LSU-Miami. That felt like a big game.
Yeah, great, until the end of the first quarter when it was a blowout, and I went to bed. But my bigger thing is Braylon Edwards has a younger brother that goes to Michigan on the running back team. My God, how far apart are they? Like that's a big difference. That Braylon Edwards has to be 30-something.
I mean, maybe the parents were busy.
Maybe not. I don't know. I'm just shocked by that. Like, what? Braylon Edwards had somebody as a brother that. I understand, but I'm just pointing that out. Braylon Edwards seemed like an old guy to me, because he hadn't even been in the league for how long? And I don't watch the Big Ten Network, so I don't know. You know,
he was born in '83, so yeah, 35. So his brother's what?
Yeah,
Probably
20,
18, 20,
18, 19, 20, maybe 21 if he's a senior. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
Mom still, maybe she was young when she had it in. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you never know.
I don't know. I just find that weird. Like, you know, who else? Derek Carr. Like, you know, his older brother. You know,
David Carr. He was drafted by the Texans
when he was drafted.
The expansion draft.
Derek Carr was like 10 when he was drafted. They got pictures of him up on the stage with his brother being drafted by Houston, and Derek Carr's up there, and like, oh, who's David's Carr grandpa right there? No, that's Derek. Or who's Derek's grandpa next to him right there? Oh no, that's David Carr.
Well, what's weirder though is, like, you know, in baseball you get like the father-son duos too. I mean,
yeah.
King Griffey Sr., King Griffey Jr., they played on the same field
for 3 or 4 years, right? 5 years,
so.
Like that. Yeah, but I don't know the age difference. Yeah, but no, father son you can get because you have them early or whatever. But
that's like kind of the same thing.
No, I don't know. Isn't it weird that, like, hey, this is my brother and he's 14 years younger than you? Like, I don't know. That's weird to me.
I didn't think it was that weird.
My sister's 6 years older than me, and like, I don't think anything of that. But like 15, 16 years different. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's me. You guys let me know.
That's just Steve. That's just Steve. Anyway, Steve, you're obviously you're on one this weekend, watching football, saying, well, this team was definitely overranked in preseason rankings, and now
I freaking hate it. Okay, how many of us sat down this weekend excited to watch, and it wasn't even because of preseason rankings, but how many of us were excited to watch Miami LSU? Like, I even told you, like, Wednesday or Thursday, like, I'm looking forward to this game.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Miami is awful. They aren't going to be any better. They're not getting any better. They were just flat out awful, you know? And then, gosh, I can't even think of the other games we watched.
We watched Washington Auburn game. We watched West Virginia Tennessee.
Yeah, but we didn't have
expectations.
We didn't have expectations. I didn't expect it to be a huge blowout, but we didn't have huge expectations.
No, definitely not huge. The Florida State Virginia Tech game, definitely didn't see that one going the way it went.
Yeah, but like, you know, like the Michigan Notre Dame game, right? Like I told you, I was like, one or both of these teams is overranked, and it's only because they have this beginning game. So the networks want two highly ranked teams going into this, right, for better ratings.
Highest ranked Notre Dame opener in years.
Yeah, but they also don't play anybody on their openers usually, right?
Last time they had a woman ranked this high was, I believe they opened up with Michigan.
I think you're right. But, like, you know, Michigan just laid an egg, and, you know, it's just, I've been on this rant for a while, but preseason football, they shouldn't have rankings. Like, you can have expectations, and you can kind of say teams are going to be good, like, in their conference, but these national rankings need to stop because, like, you know, what was Miami? God, they were like 5 or something ridiculous like that.
I think they were 8.
8?
Right? Yeah.
Oh my God. They look like they'd never played football before.
They dropped 14. They're at 22 right now. So yeah, they were ranked 8. Michigan went down 7 from 14 to 21. In Miami, they played LSU. LSU shot up to 11 from 25. So
see, that's the thing, right? We don't know how good LSU is because the team they played sucks. So we don't know how good LSU is. LSU had 0 expectations going into the season, and they beat a team that everybody was overhyping, and now all of a sudden LSU's good.
I mean, everybody thought Miami was going to win that game.
I did.
Miami was strong last year, turnover chain. Everybody loved the turnover chain.
Yeah, that should have been my rant today. Oh, my God.
Oh, whatever. You cannot talk shit about the turnover
throne.
Oh,
my God.
Boise State has a turnover throne.
Yeah, do we need a turnover throne? Do we need a turnover robe? Do we need a turnover belt? Like, oh, my God, people. Enough with the turnover this and
Hey.
You did your job. Congratulations. You really need a belt when you get to the sideline?
Ole Miss, baby. NWO for life. I love it.
God.
I love it.
Oh, my God. It's just unbelievable.
The New World Order of defense. How can you knock that, man? For life.
The turnover chain was awesome last year, right? Because it was like fun. Because they were the first ones to do it. And now like every school's like, we need to have a turnover or something.
Last year the Volunteers actually debuted the like turnover trash can where like if you got the ball, they were like dunking in the trash.
Yeah, was that Tennessee?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching that. And like some poor like
they literally bought a bunch of like Rubbermaid trash cans and put a Tennessee logo on it. It was
some
terrible.
ball guy like some ball guy, his job was after a turnover to go near the guy with the thing and hold it up.
It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. Thank God they did not bring that back out this year.
Yeah, so that's a whole nother rant.
I don't know if they did or not. I didn't see a turnover in that game. But we turned it off before they got their first fumble. Hopefully they didn't bring out the turnover trash can when it was like 40-47. Like,
right,
hey guys, let's go. Turnover trash can time.
I mean, it's no different than NFL football. How many times does like the team that everybody says is the best team in the NFL, finish the season as the best team? It's just constant.
Patriots usually get to the Super Bowl, and they're usually considered the best team.
They don't actually usually get to the Super Bowl, but sure. Well, that's the thing, though. They don't always get there. Like, if you listen to all the pundits, they would be in the Super Bowl every year, and they're just not,
It's a hard thing to win.
But, like, everything you read, so... My favorite preseason thing, right, is they give out this little known award at the end of the year, which is a joke award. Like it's gone. Its usefulness has been gone for years. Nobody cares about it anymore. It's just like, it doesn't go to the best player in football. It goes to the best offensive player now. I mean, Desmond Howard broke through that with a defensive player, but the Heisman Trophy. And so we are subjected to, the other day I had the TV on, and I was subjected to like a 30-minute Heisman preview before the season even starts. Like, seriously? Like, you don't know any of these players are going to be good or not. Then you don't know if their teams are going to be good or not, right? And then I'm on ESPN.com today, and they literally have an article talking about who gets dropped from the Heisman list and who's number one now, who's the favorite now after 1 week. It's just purely ridiculous at this point. Like, Will Grier of West Virginia looked like a stud against Tennessee.
He's pretty good at football.
But my God, it goes back to my Miami thing. Don't take this wrong, Jason, but Tennessee was awful. We don't know how good West Virginia is, and we're promoting their quarterback to number one after one game on the Heisman thing.
But
it's like we have 3 months to go, people. West Virginia's not winning that conference.
Here's what's so funny about Will Grier, though, is even like during the game, like first quarter, they were talking about him, and they were showing, he used to have his hair cut. He cut his hair this year so he can market himself better for the Heisman, and he actually has like GrierForHeisman.com or something stupid like that.
I don't
where it shows like him, shows his wife. By the way, dime piece, smoke show right there. His kids, coaches, like it's just like Will Grier doing this and this. Like,
I don't have a problem with teams promoting the players, or the players promoting themselves for Heisman, but we don't need a list of watch these Heisman hopefuls. Like, oh my God, no. Now, why don't we find out who the Heisman finalists are? Like, why don't we start talking about it in November after we've seen everybody play numerous games and how they do and everything and whatnot? It's no different than the football predictions, and then the college football predictions. I mean, other than Alabama and Clemson, who's 3-4 in the playoffs this year? Nobody knows. Like, you have no clue. But we're subjected to all this crap about, so LSU beats a crappy Miami team with no offense whatsoever, we learned. And all of a sudden, LSU is a favorite again.
Their main problem is they don't have a household name of quarterback. Is it Rozier or is it Rozier? We don't even know yet. Last year was Rozier, now it's Rozier.
No, it's not. It's even worse than that. The guy that backs up him is supposedly a better quarterback, but he was suspended for that game because of some disciplinary thing. I don't remember what it was. So he's suspended for that game, and he's coming back this week. Like, the speculation was that Miami would have switched quarterbacks in that game, but they couldn't because the other good guy was suspended. So it's like...
Well, Steve, you want to know why they have lists? You want to know why they have rankings and all this stuff?
Because
It's not because of us.
Dumb people.
It's because of people who live 4 hours to our west. They run everything in sports today. I'm talking about the boys at the Superbooks in Las Vegas. If it wasn't for that, our boy Sam Paniatovich over at the Chicken Dinner Podcast and VSiN.com wouldn't have a job. So, Sam, thanks for listening.
I don't get how a ranking though affects gambling. If Miami and LSU weren't ranked on Saturday night and I was a gambler, I still would have gone to put money on Miami.
No, but you throw down your future bets too, you know? Like, okay, who do you think's going to be in the playoffs? Like, I got this team, this team in the playoffs, you parlay
but
it,
that's
whatever.
Different. But
Heisman,
that's different.
Do the same with the Heisman.
But
and
that's
with
different.
that, I mean, pretty much...
That's just odds. That has nothing to do with rankings. You can do that without knowing that Clemson's number 2 and Alabama's number 1. You can sit down and be smart enough to figure out. And if a Vegas book wants to put Miami highly ranked when they obviously don't deserve it, then that's on the Vegas book thing. But we're not getting force-fed. The problem is when
it helps out the dumb gamblers.
When you start the season, let's say you start the season number 3 and you promptly lose your first 2 games, right? I'm going to give you an example, folks. They weren't ranked, but University of Arizona. All we hear now, okay, note for all those of you that don't know me, not a fan. We should sell Tucson back to Mexico, in my opinion.
Bear down.
Garbage town. Nobody cares about it. Everybody that graduates from U of A comes up to Phoenix and makes our town worse. It's just a whole rivalry thing I just don't care about. Like, I don't care about them.
I made out with a cop from
all
Tucson.
Season long, all preseason, because they signed... What's his name from Texas A&M? Sumlin from Texas A&M.
Kevin Sumlin.
They have, oh my God, folks, SI put their quarterback on the cover of the Southwest version because he's a Heisman hopeful. He's the best quarterback in college football, folks. Khalil Tate, here he comes. And then Sumlin's here to save U of A because if he can win 5 or 6 games in the SEC with A&M with better talent, he can come to Arizona and get all those guys. All this hype. 51,000. I saw a tweet before kickoff that said... from one of the U of A guys. 51,000 people. Their expectations are high for a big bowl game this year. And they promptly lose to a team in BYU that has no chance in life this year. Like, I'm sorry, BYU fans. Your team is just going to dog it this year. They're still in the rebuilding mode. But they get dominated. It ended up being close score-wise. So you go to... And now U of A's got to go to Houston this weekend. At Houston. It's like a 9 a.m. kickoff Arizona time.
Not gonna be easy.
Ain't gonna be easy. U of A, the team that everybody's been hyping as this dark horse in the Pac-12. They're gonna sneak up. They're gonna contend with USC this year. They're gonna do this. They're gonna do that. And every U of A fan, every ASU fan's loving it because I was just digging it on Saturday night. But every U of A fan is hating their life. And if they lose on Saturday, you are gonna see people shudder. You're gonna see just clothing lining the streets down there because people are going to be getting rid of their U of A football stuff. And that's the problem with expectations and these preseason polls and all this stuff, you know. You declare Khalil Tate's the Heisman Trophy candidate. No, he isn't. He had 14 rushing yards on Saturday, which a lot of people put on the coach, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, and then you got the conversely, ASU, everybody's like, Herm Edwards sucks. He hasn't been coaching for 30 years, blah, blah, blah. ASU look pretty damn good. We're going to find out what they really are like against Michigan State this week, and Michigan State didn't look good last week. But ASU had 0 expectations, so ASU goes out there and wins. I don't even know what the final score was. Wasn't it like 50 to 7?
It was like 42-0 when I last saw it or something like that.
So now ASU's expectations have been risen up with Michigan State coming in this weekend because Michigan State didn't look good. But that's the way it should be, right? It shouldn't be that all preseason we hear how U of A is like a great team and they're going to surprise people, and then ASU sucks because their head coach, Herm Edwards. And then you go into the first game and then every U of A fan's deflated today. And if they lose Saturday, you're going to see them just jump off that bandwagon. And if ASU, they came in and they dominated UT San Antonio, so the expectations went a little bit higher. And if they even like have a close game against Michigan State this weekend, ASU's fans and ASU's going to be even more hyped up, you know, and U of A is just going to keep falling. And that's the problem with the preseason polls and all these preseason predictions. And so by quote-unquote experts that are 99% wrong. Anyway, my rant's over. That's my rant. Stop overhyping people in the media. Like, you guys are supposedly experts on football. And how do you miscall these calls so bad? if I read one more thing about how this is Michigan's year because he has the talent, and then he goes and lays a bad egg against Notre Dame. Granted, it was at Notre Dame, first game of the year. I can understand the loss, but they didn't look good.
Never trust Harbaugh. Overrated.
So,
anyways,
yeah,
if ASU beats Michigan State this week, look for ASU to be in the rankings next week. We're excited about that.
They will be ranked this week.
We are excited about that. So, anyways, moving on. Hard Knocks. Speaking of Heismans and all that stuff, last year's Heisman winner, Baker Mayfield, my boy. He won the backup quarterback job. A lot of people think it's weird that Baker Mayfield had to win the backup quarterback job. I don't think, personally, it's too weird. I mean, you got Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor's the man you're paying. And he's also there to help teach Baker Mayfield. Taylor's been in the league for a while. There's no right or wrong way to groom a new quarterback into NFL-style system. Some people say just let him go out there and play. Some people say you got to have him wait. I mean, we've seen more often than not, usually it's kids that do get out right away and start playing. We see within a couple of years what they're really made of. Carson Wentz last year looked like a total stud. Was probably going to win the not Hall of Fame, the MVP last year before getting hurt late in the year. We've seen also, where guys have sat and are great, Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre. Dude's a freaking stud, best quarterback in the league, arguably.
There's no argument. I don't care.
Well, there's still some circles out there.
Yeah, there's
Boston,
some Brady fans.
In Boston, and probably Pittsburgh. You probably make an argument for Ben.
No.
I put Brady, Ben, Rodgers on my 3 right now. They're in that top tier range right now. So those are my 3 top tier quarterbacks. I don't think there's another one, is there?
When you go,
it's just those 3. But
I don't know. I'm not going to say because we're forgetting somebody very obvious, and people are going to
probably.
What the hell you forgot about?
I don't know how to forget about that guy.
Well, that's the thing, right? But the thing about the Browns, so like the Jets put Donaldson as their starter, so rookie over the veteran there as a rookie. Darnold. But the head coach in Jets is a little bit more secure in his job. Like, if they have a bad season, he'll get fired. Don't get me wrong. But, he's a little bit more secure. If Hugh Jackson can't go with Bradford right off the bat, because if Mayfield, sorry, Bradford, God, I'm all messed up, folks. Because if he starts off 0-3, 0-4 with a rookie quarterback, he's getting fired because they've won 1 game in 2 years. So he's got to go. Their hopes are on Tyrod Taylor, and I'm just telling you, man, I've seen people say the Browns are good. If things go their way, they're going to win 8 or 9 games. I don't know where people are coming up with that.
I got them 16-0 right now. I know. So I don't know how you don't have them 16-0.
You're also drunk.
All you got to do is get your testicles in the C gap, and you're good. All right? Get your testicles in the C gap, and you are good. What in the world is going on? We got some sound on here. Ads playing in the background. This one's brought to you by
we don't get
Waffle
paid
House.
We don't get paid for those ads, so we're not going to do that.
But, no, so not just I think there's more people talking about the Brown situation more than other team situation. Like, look at the Cardinals. Cardinals are going over Bradford than Rosen. But yeah, I think because it's on Hard Knocks, we got to amp this up. Like, oh my God, I can't believe what the Browns did. They're having Mayfield. He won the second string job. It's like, well, he came in. We all knew where it was going. We all knew he's going to be the second quarterback to Tyrod Taylor. We were just iffy on if Drew Stanton was still going to be on the team or if Brogan Roback was to get a spot. I loved Hard Knocks this week because I got to see more Brogan. I was very happy about that. Kind of sad he didn't make the team. Haven't seen if he's gotten picked up by a practice squad or anything like that. But nope. I hope he does because Brogan, he was awesome.
Where does this love from Brogan come from?
I don't know, dude. I just love that kid. It's the blonde hair. I get lost in his eyes, man.
Is it because he went to the butterfly place and he showed his human side on Hard Knocks?
He's just spraying mist at me, And he loves portrait mode too. Like, dude, I'm a big believer in the portrait mode on the iPhone. Like, it comes in so clutch, and Brogan knows that it comes in clutch. So I love that.
Cajuice, we all fell in love with Cajuice.
Did you fall more in love with Cajuice or like his dad?
Well, it was all encompassing though. Like his dad added, like you would have been a fan of Kajus and rooted for him to make the team, regardless of his dad. But his dad's situation just made it even more compelling that you were rooting for the kid, right?
Especially when he found out his dad had a heart attack, like on the show. Like, oh yeah, man, had my fourth heart attack last week.
He's like, what?
Like, oh, I think he just starts crying because they had no idea. So this week, it picks up obviously the news of Michael Kendricks having the insider trading news break out, and they're like all over the place, like, oh shit, you guys see about this? He's like, yeah, look, man, I don't know, and they're like. So, they don't even show, them. I mean, obviously, there's only so much they can show, I think, of that situation. Last night, I was a little bit like, I can't believe they didn't focus on this. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is an ongoing investigation.
But they were showing the coaches talking about it. That's what's fascinating. And that's what this Hard Knocks did not do compared to other ones, is they didn't show the interaction, the coaches talking about the players behind the scenes. It was very little coaches interacting with players, I mean, Kajus got a nice pep talk before he went out for the final preseason game, but that stuff just wasn't in this one. But anyway.
Yeah, so, it kind of showed a little bit of that to begin, and then, it just shows you, hey, we got rid of Kendricks, so there's an open spot for whoever, just letting you guys know, going to the fourth game this week, boys have at it. And then they really focused on that fourth game a lot. Obviously, Baker Mayfield got the start with the team. Kajus, it was like, is he going to make the team or not? Like you said, he was walking with Haley in the back, and they're like, man, hold on to that ball like it's one of your crystals, because him and his dad are big crystal guys. I was a little shocked his dad opened up a jersey. Don't know who he got it from, but it wasn't the authentic, Nike jersey. It was like the Fanatics brand, or I mean, the numbers were like just the screen print numbers. They weren't even stitched on.
The dude gets $1,800 a week for preseason if he doesn't make the team, man. They're not made of money, Jason.
Oh, come on. His dad flew out to New York. He was like, I was going to fly out to Detroit, but I had another heart issue last week.
That's what I love about it.
It's geez, dude, lay off the steroids, man.
We talked about it in an earlier podcast, but it was so funny when you first met the dad. It was like, he called me yesterday and said he needs me out here. So he's like, I didn't mean I need you out here right away, Dad. He's like, you said you needed me. I was on the next plane. It was like,
that was cool. It was dad. They love each other. I love it. But so I was kind of a little weird that his dad didn't have the authentic jersey. But whatever.
I don't know.
Guess that's just me.
You got way more hung up on that than I did.
Guess that's just me. Yeah. Got to get those numbers stitched on if you're gonna wear a jersey as a grown man. That's what you got to do. And then, really focused on the game. Obviously, Kajus kind of got hurt there.
Rolled both of his ankles on one route.
We knew Nate Orchard was fighting for his spot. One thing we had no idea was going on is that Carl Nassib was fighting for his spot, too. Had no idea Carl Nassib was getting cut.
And I was like, well, I didn't know he was fighting for his job, but I knew it was between him and Orchard. So I just assumed, Orchard's losing this battle because they were focusing on Orchard not playing.
I didn't realize Nassib played Game 4.
I know.
I had no idea. I was like, oh, Nassib, he's a leader on this defense.
Yeah.
Guy's been there forever,
So the Browns got 2 players that have been on their team the last 3 years on the defensive line, and
apparently,
guys that have been there and they liked them and everything.
The main reason for Nassib getting cut, though, was because they wanted to sign a guy from the Ravens. And they're like, hey, man, we got to cut you. We found somebody we want more than you. Well, they didn't say that, but the narrator said that.
He was the first one to be picked up by another team. The Bucs picked him up. Yeah. So, I mean, he's got a job on the defensive line. I know Orchard was in Buffalo, but you're rooting for Orchard. He's got a family, and they harped on the family.
Yeah.
So that was the thing. This last episode was just tying up the 4 or 5 guys they kind of focused on, but they didn't focus on Landry they had a Josh.
They had Landry on the 4th episode just getting a rub down.
Yeah,
he was like, this is the best way to cover, but he didn't play the 4th game. I guess they never
practice.
They never really mentioned, because they did show Nassib was a vocal point of the series, but they never really mentioned anything about him. That was the first time we actually seen him play on Hard Knocks was this past week. I never saw him on Hard Knocks playing football.
The way you found out that him and it was always in the meeting room talking about his own thing, but it was always Nassib and the way you found out they were battling for the same spot was in the middle of the game. They both go to the sideline after a big play, and they're both standing there, and they're like, these two are battling for the same job, and they're still teammates. And you're like, what?
I was like, Nassib might get cut? No, don't make. I love Nassib. Yeah, we have the same taste in sunglasses.
I was
found
under the
out.
impression that you have urine takeout. I was always under the impression I was like, oh, NASA made this team and it's Orchard's job to beat him. Like that was what I always thought.
I didn't realize they were fighting for the same spot.
Yeah, apparently they weren't wanted. But see, here's the problem I have with the Hard Knocks. Who are the Browns' defensive linemen?
Couldn't tell you.
Well, Myles Garrett, obviously.
Yeah, I said Myles Garrett.
But yeah, so they cut 2 guys that they focused on in Hard Knocks all season. They obviously have at least 4 defensive linemen, right? Because you start 4.
Right. Yeah, you got some defensive ends coming in there.
But who are they? Yeah.
Well,
Besides Jarvis Landry and Josh Gordon, who are the other receivers for the Browns?
Higgins and Callaway.
Okay. Oh, that's true. They did focus. Okay, you're right. See, there you go.
They focused on Callaway, and then Higgins had to play the whole game, right? Or not Higgins. No, Callaway had to play the whole game.
But that was the first one, and then you don't hear
But
from
Higgins
him.
had a great first game because he was balling out.
So they didn't focus on him, right? So you kind of forget about him, see? And then tight ends, I mean, Kajus. Name the other. Because
I know Njoku because they talked about him in the first episode, and he caught the touchdown.
Kajus was the 5th tight end. They decided not to keep 5 tight ends. The 4th one is what we found out afterwards. So there's
4 tight ends. Like that's just seems like a lot, right?
I know. So there's 4 tight ends on the Browns, and you can name one of them. This is my point about the Hard Knocks. Like, they didn't focus on anybody. Myles Garrett got some plays throughout the season, but, I mean, he was a focal point in this last one because he was kind of helping Orchard out.
He was teaching Orchard 4 years in the league how to, get around blocks.
He's like, do you think you should have, because he's like, how many stances do you have? He's like, 1 for running, 1 for passing. He's like, shouldn't you just have 1? And it was like... I feel like a coach should have taught him on that at some point.
Yeah, you had who was it? The tight ends are actually teaching Kajus how to block better, which is blocking to pick up. Even Dorsey's like, man, Kajus, his blocking's looking good.
I mean, blocking isn't an easy thing to pick up, so I can get, and he's bounced around the league for playoffs, and he's never made an actual team, so he doesn't get that practice, but he did improve a lot. That's true, but yeah, I don't know. Like, it's always fascinating. Now, granted, they don't have the cuts like they used to. I think this might be the first year where they don't do cuts during, like everybody's on the team until the last cuts. So you obviously, a lot of that drama before was people got cut in week 2, week 3, week 4, and then the final roster. So some of that drama was gone, but I was thinking about that earlier today, where I was just like, I don't know who the other defensive linemen, they cut 2 defensive linemen that they focused on for 4 or 5 episodes of Hard Knocks. I couldn't tell you who any of the other ones are besides Myles Garrett, and that's just because he was the number 1 pick.
And one of the defensive linemen, I just thought they were focused on him because he was funny. I had no idea.
Do you know any linebackers on the Browns?
No, could not.
Do we know any cornerbacks on safety? Who's the Browns safety?
That guy.
Yeah,
that guy.
Yeah, the guy that roams the middle of the field. I'm just throwing it out there that's why this Hard Knocks was just disappointing. I felt like
I'll have to go back and rewatch some older seasons now, just to kind of see what was
they
about.
focused on. It'll be interesting to see that whether my memory's correct or not. But I just think there wasn't a lot of drama on this at all. And then focused on the 5 guys or whatever, and all of them got cut. Okay.
I felt bad for the guys who were in the locker room clearing out their locker who they didn't focus on. Like, I wonder who that guy is. Like, who just got cut. Like,
that's the
who's
thing.
This guy?
And Hard Knocks focuses on those guys.
But it doesn't even say like their name. It didn't even say like, this is offensive tackle.
Yeah.
Mark Jones. Mark
Nassib
James
was cleaning out his locker, and then there was a guy there like, "Hey, thanks for everything, man." And it was like, "Who's that guy getting cut over there?"
Yeah, the guy's like, "Oh man, did you get cut too?" Yeah.
But like, that's what I like about Hard Knocks, though, is they show the. I mean, it's a hard business, and they show that side of the business, and that's what I like about it. Like, I don't get joy out of watching a guy get cut who's worked his ass off. That's the other thing. Like, everybody that they showed getting cut, they only showed like 3 guys getting cut. Normally, they show like everybody coming in, and I was telling you. Normally they show up to like practice that morning where they're getting cut, and they're like, the guy's waiting for him. So they walk in the lobby and they're like, hey, we need to see you upstairs real quick, and they walk him up. Or they'll call him and say, hey, we need to see you today. But when they get there, somebody's waiting for him, and they pull in and they walk him up. And the assistant GM's like, hey, come find me when you get here.
The kid looks like he's like 22 too. He's like, hey.
It's just like, how impersonal can you be where you're like, yeah, we need to see you today.
And he does the whole, unfortunately, you have to come in today.
That's just patronizing when you're getting cut. But then the 5 players they showed getting cut, if 4 maybe, they didn't show very many.
They showed Roback, Nassib, Orchard, and Cajuice.
Yeah. They were all.
I think that was the only 4.
They were all like, yeah, okay, cool. Like, oh, I wish you guys luck and everything, and they walked out. Like, they don't show the guy that, I remember who it was. I think maybe it was the Bucks on Hard Knocks one year?
Yeah,
the Bucks
last year.
And they cut a guy that had no chance of making the team, and the guy knew he had no chance. And they cut him like early in camp, and the guy was devastated, Like he slammed the door on the Hard Knocks people because he was like, I'm done with this, because he was mad that he got cut. And he had no chance to make it. He was like, I just need to get on film. I need to do this. That's the side of Hard Knocks that I love. And it's heartbreaking to watch it and all that stuff. And it was just like non-existent this year. It was almost like the guys all knew they were getting cut. And they were like, yeah, all right, cool. We'll see you later. And it was just like,
I'll just have to go back there and watch it. I don't know. Anyways, football coming up this week. I'm excited. Face football. We're in a league together. We actually have been talking some smack in that league because looks like Le'Veon Bell will not be playing. Do you have any thoughts on Le'Veon Bell? I really don't care. You don't show up to work, don't play. That's my philosophy, but he will probably end up getting overpaid. I did see his agent say 31 other teams would love to have Le'Veon Bell, and we all know how the Steelers have been using him, treating him like a workhorse here lately, so we know what we're worth. F you, Pittsburgh. Cardinals, would you be a fan of the Cardinals signing Le'Veon Bell?
No.
You wouldn't want a Le'Veon Bell, David Johnson backfield?
No.
Dude, that'd be dope.
No, it wouldn't.
That'd be dope.
Because one of them wouldn't get the carries of the ball anymore. And the Cardinals have an explosive offense with David Johnson because he isn't just hand the ball off and run it. Le'Veon Bell's a one-horse quarterback. You give him the ball and let him do his magic. David Johnson, you can flare him out. He can run as a receiver. You can hand him the ball and he'll do his magic. There's a big thing there. But the bigger issue is I think Le'Veon Bell's up for a big disappointment. He keeps pushing for more money, and that's his whole thing. His agent came out today and said he's not reporting. I understand missing preseason. I understand not showing up to camp like he did last year. But now he's going, it's like something like $1 million a game he gets fined for every game he doesn't show up to. And he's making, with the franchise tag, I want to say $14 million this year, 12 or 14 million. And he has to report by week 11 for the year to count. So if he misses 10 games, that's $10 million of his $14 million salary, if it's 14, and all to preserve himself. And then he's going to come in and get hurt when he gets the crap kicked out of him because he's not going to be in the proper shape. Everybody's going to be, into football mode by then, and he's not. I think don't sign the contract and tell them you're not showing up if you don't want the deal. They're not giving you a long-term deal.
He doesn't want it.
They're obviously not going to trade you.
He had until this past Monday to sign the tag. Didn't sign it.
You can still sign it and show up. It's like they can pull it now if they want to, but he still can show up and sign it, which he will do at some point. But the problem is that's who needs to be on Hard Knocks is the effing Steelers, man. They are drama city.
I don't think they would want the cameras back there, dude.
I know, but the NFL can be like, you're on Hard Knocks, guys, because you guys are drama. This would
have been the year.
There's nothing but drama with the Steelers. Even now, offensive linemen are coming out going, we don't need Bell. Let him sit out. I don't want to block for him. An offensive lineman actually came out and said, I don't want to block for Le'Veon Bell when he comes back. Oh my God! That's a starting. I don't remember who it was. It's like a starting left tackle of the Steelers is saying, so Le'Veon Bell's going to show up and get his first handoff, and every lineman's going to stand up and be like,
Let him get hit. Let him get hit. That'd be awesome if they did that.
I'm a firm believer of. I understand sitting out preseason. I don't think it's good for your game to sit out practices and stuff because you have to get into football shape. But I'm a firm believer of skipping that, but show up, do your job, and go home. The Steelers are using you as a workhorse, Le'Veon Bell, because you're a running back. They're not using you as a workhorse, as a running back, and you're a receiver. They're not asking you to do anything abnormal. They're asking you to take the football that Ben Roethlisberger hands you, and you go run it. You get them positive yards. That's what they're doing. And I think they're in for a woeful awakening. 31 teams don't want Le'Veon Bell for multiple reasons. I think him not showing up. So you sign him to a long-term deal. And he's not happy after year 2. Because he's going to start declining. He's not going to be the stud he is now.
And that's the thing. Le'Veon Bell is trying to set the market for a position that has no market. Once you're done with running backs after their rookie contract, you're either, it's either, all right, see you later, go fall apart in 3 years at somebody else's team,
but he has set the market.
Take what we give you.
He has set the market at $14 million, $16 million, and it's not good enough. The other thing that I was hurting Le'Veon Bell is this whole Darnold in LA signs, right? And then Oakland's like, we're not signing Khalil Mack for this amount of money because they knew they had to go higher.
They're like, well, Donald set the market on there.
So they traded Khalil Mack like instantly because they're like, we're not paying a guy, $100 million on the defensive line.
And the Bears were like, what's up?
And now Le'Veon Bell goes, well, if I sit out, the Steelers will trade me to a team that wants me, and everything. But is a team really going to sign a running back? What is he, 27, 28 now, I think?
I don't know.
But is a team really going to sign a 27 to 28-year-old running back that has acted like this for, at least 2 years, maybe 3 years, to a $16 million contract that he wants? Like, I just don't see it happening. There will be a team that will sign him to a big deal, but, it's not going to be a good team. So it drives me nuts, He's hurting his own value, and it's his fault. And he may get the money right away, but the other side of it is he's going to get paid at some point, the same amount, if not the same.
He turns 27 in February.
Yeah. And running backs break down at 30 when they're
February 18th. He was 9 years old when Dale Earnhardt died.
Day after my birthday.
It's the 2 days after my mom's birthday.
Oh, hey, what him? Yeah. It's like all encompassing. I love Le'Veon Bell now. He's my favorite player.
There you go. You're both Scorpios.
So, so I don't know. It's, I'm not, like Khalil Mack held out for preseason. Darnold's, held out. I don't care if you hang out for preseason. Show up for the first game. Be a professional. Come in and play. But, football, the owners have the thing here. He can sit out as long as he wants. They don't care because they're just going to find him, and the team's going to hate him. And it's hurting his value, not anybody else.
What I think's funny about all this is, all right, so the Rams, they went all in with Darnold. They're handcuffed in salary cap. Like,
next year,
you better win the fucking Super Bowl in 2 years.
No, this year. Next year. They're already in salary cap trouble next year. They're going to be cutting.
Do they have a luxury
tax
they can use?
Yeah, no. They're if they don't make the Super Bowl this year, they're going to have to start cutting good players next year that are making good money in order to get underneath the cap for next year.
So you better win it this year.
And then after next year, then it's going to be like a wholesale firestorm.
Not too sure the Bears situation. I know they do have a lot of young players. Signing Khalil Mack to a record deal, but probably not going to be good long-term future.
They signed him. Most of his guaranteed money is up front, so they actually unload the big payments in the next 2 years, which will allow them to bring. The difference is Khalil Mack and Darnold, they're game changers on that defensive line. They're not worth that kind of money, I don't think. Like, I wouldn't put that much money into it, but
yeah, I've never seen that kind of money thrown out.
The Bears have starting quarterback is Mitchell Trubisky, who's on his rookie deal. And he's going to be on his rookie deal for 2 or 3 more years. And in that time frame, that's the money that would go to Mitchell Trubisky is now in Khalil Mack.
Right.
So Khalil Mack, by the time the big chunk is paid out, Mitchell Trubisky, if he's still around and still considered good, will be getting that money then. So it actually doesn't affect him at all because they have the young core, which is the same thing with the Rams. Goff is under his rookie contract, so they're able to pay a couple guys a lot more money and expand that out until they have to pay Goff. So that's why it works for those two teams. But a running back who traditionally teams are weary of when they break down at third. People are getting rid of running backs at 27, 28.
The Cowboys got rid of DeMarco Murray after he won the rushing title.
And he was like 27.
And they were like, deuces, bro, we don't need you.
Because he just retired at 30.
Yeah,
so he was like
literally just retired 3 years down the road. Like, and running backs, they're expendable, man. They are expendable. I mean, I know Bell's a game changer, but he's still expendable at the end of the day, and that's what the Steelers are saying. Anyways, big game tomorrow night. First kickoff game of the year, Eagles and Falcons. The Eagles are, of course, hosting with Big Dick Nick Foles at quarterback. Carson Wentz still no contact. Hosting the Falcons, who last year had a abysmal season, I would say. They did make the playoffs. Actually lost to the Eagles in the playoffs.
Yes.
But just wasn't what they had the year before with Kyle Shanahan around the offense. So this is obviously the second year for the offense.
Their offense definitely took a step back last year.
And their offense took a step back. We'll see if Matty Ice, Julio Jones can connect for some.
What do you think? First NFL game. Throw out your prediction. What do you
First
say?
NFL game of the season, man. I mean, right now, if we're going off power rankings, which we know.
Oh, you're looking stuff up?
No, I'm just saying the Eagles are ranked number one in power rankings.
Of course. Super Bowl.
I picked the Falcons to win this.
No, yeah.
I did.
Eagles are going to win it.
Just based off of the last team that came out of the NFC East that beat the Patriots. They lost their home opener the next year. And that was the Giants. So
who did they play?
They played the Cowboys on Wednesday Night Football because that was an election year.
Yeah, I remember
back in 2012, 2013. When was the election? I don't even know. But yeah, that was election year. So
Atlanta's offense. Atlanta's offense. Now, like I said, you can't really go off last year, but they are not good without Shanahan not in there. And I'm a Matt Ryan fan. I know he gets a lot of crap, but he cannot. There's something wrong with Julio Jones. I think, he's a stud when he wants to be, but there's something going on with Julio Jones where, it. Kind of like Larry Fitzgerald for a few years, where he still gets all the recognition and is still considered one of the better, receivers in the league. But it's just like he's not fully there.
Yeah, he's not invested.
I can't explain what's going on with him. But they have no running game, all that. They're going to go into Philadelphia with all this hype coming up. It's the first game, but then and you can't lean too much on preseason. But the Eagles looked horrific in preseason.
Yeah, Foles did not look good.
But the whole offensive line was awful, and this is like an all-pro offensive line. Like everybody's an all-pro on this offensive line, and they look like they'd never played football before. So you got to worry about that hangover. I just think the first game with Atlanta coming into town. You don't know who's going to show up at turnovers or whatever. I just think with the momentum for Philly coming in, they're going to have the crowd hyped up behind them, and Atlanta's offense has to show me that they're going to show up this year because they've been awful last year. It was just bad. There was nothing good about it. So we'll see on that. But then we do have an NFL
Eagles?
preview. I do have the Eagles.
All right, you got the Eagles. I got the Falcons.
We're going to do a big whole NFL preview on Saturday. We're going to have our third person come in and join us.
Adam Michaels from, the Main Event Chicago now, from SportsChicago.com. One of the original OGs of the Main Event back when I was up in Chicago, repping it. Started this thing a few years back, and he will be joining us live in studio here at the Casa, and we'll be doing a full NFL preview, so definitely looking forward to that. College football games this week. I know you're going to ASU Michigan State. You're excited about that. Excited to get to see Michigan State. Other than that, only two other games that have ranked teams playing ranked teams. I know
everybody goes back
ASU
to
obviously not ranked, but you got number 3 Georgia playing South Carolina, who's ranked number 24. That game in Columbia, South Carolina.
Really?
You like Georgia there?
Yeah, I do.
Georgia 10-point favorites going on the road right there, and then another.
Georgia's going to be strong this year.
Then another ranked game you have, actually a Pac-12 game, man, big game right there. USC ranked number 17 against Stanford, ranked number 10. Stanford 5-point favorites on the old home turf there in California.
Yeah, shoot, I don't know. I'm thinking Stanford's going to win that on the road, but Stanford's weird. I'm sorry, Stanford at home, I think will pull that out. It's just weird, man. Like, Stanford always has a game at the beginning of the year where they just suck it up and do not look good. So, but SC's breaking in a new quarterback. Darnold left, and they're breaking in a new quarterback. I'm not a fan of these big schools. I'm speaking of LSU, hiring these guys that are player favorites when they need a coach instead of going and getting a big name. So USC head coach has to prove something to me in order for me to start picking him on these big games. So, but you got to root for the Pac-12, regardless. And it's always a good day when SC loses. Let's be honest.
One of the games I'm actually looking forward to this week is going to be early game on Saturday. Number 6 Oklahoma actually hosting Chip Kelly and the Bruins. I want to see how Chip Kelly and UCLA rebounds after taking one on the proverbial chin this past week. Don't fire me.
Isn't the question? Isn't the question how many points will UCLA lose by this week with Chip Kelly? Because they lost to a pretty bad team last week and looked awful.
They are 30-point underdogs, man. You have
This is a
Power
major
5
conference.
conferences, man. 30-point dogs, and yet the over-under is still 64. So, like...
Yeah, and Oklahoma was breaking in a new quarterback, right? And
Who looked great last week, by the way.
You know, and Chip Kelly, God bless you, you know. And I heard all these people make excuses on Saturday night for Chip Kelly. He doesn't have his quarterback there yet. You know, his players aren't there yet. You got to give him a year or whatever. You don't go into, oh my God, who they play? It was some awful team too. And you don't go in and play a team at home and just lay an egg like that.
Cincinnati lost 26-17, which wasn't, I mean, terrible.
No, it was bad. It was bad. They scored late. It was bad.
One of those they scored late.
Yeah,
games,
it was bad. I didn't watch the game. I saw all the highlights because deep down, I've always been a UCLA fan. I've always liked them since I was a kid and everything. So I've always rooted for them. So I follow them. To be honest with you, I forgot Chip Kelly was there. And
I forgot he was there until you said, "Man, Chip Kelly looked terrible as a UCLA debut." I was like, "Chip Kelly, I know that name from somewhere. Where do I know that name from?"
That's what was funny. So like, because Saturday night, you know, we were at the track, and I didn't go to the ASU game. My dad took some other people, but I was watching all the highlights of the ASU game and reading about it. And then I was like reading all the other, you know, I was reading about Washington losing and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, UCLA lost. I'm like, oh man, that sucks. You know, whoever their coach is or whatever. Then I clicked on it and was like, oh my God, Chip Kelly's there.
But
the whole point of Chip Kelly signing at UCLA was he's a big name, because UCLA doesn't hire big name guys for their football program.
Coached the Eagles,
and
formerly of Oregon,
yes,
who you know, when Oregon had those their good years.
It was just like, holy cow. So yeah, I'm excited. You know, after the first weekend, I kind of tailor back my college football watching. I'm not going to be, you know, glued to the TV like I was last weekend. I don't think.
Yeah, last weekend we had like computer screens up on games, TV up. We actually went. You know, when the big bulk of the games were getting played, we were actually at the bar. I know Adam's coming in town, so he'll probably be like, "Whoa, let's watch." You know, he's going to want to watch like Northwestern or something like that. So we might have to make a trip up to a local drinking hole, because I doubt Northwestern's going to be playing on any TV station out here.
Yeah, they might be playing on ESPN early. So, but like, I won't be watching as many games as I did last weekend. I pick and choose, but like I said, at 7:45 p.m. ASU Michigan State game Saturday night, and then we got to turn around and go out and tailgate for the Cardinals Sunday morning and go to the Cardinals game. It's gonna be a long weekend. So
go Cards, go!
Hope we're ready for that. I got the Redskins in town, so we get to see Alex Smith and the revamped Washington Redskins coming to town with the revamped Cardinals. So.
I forgot to have Alex Smith. I got Jordan Reed, David Johnson going this week, so looking forward to that.
I'm glad you know I don't even have any idea who's on my fantasy team, man.
Dude, you got to at least know. Come on, man, you got to pick it up. But yeah, so we'll get into that. Well, actually, you know what, we probably do is a little fantasy football preview or something like that coming up down the line here. Maybe do a little something for you on Saturday, because we will have Adam, like I said, in studio. Looking forward to getting him. That's going to be a fun show.
Griffin starting for the Seahawks as linebacker.
Yes,
Did you see that?
I saw that.
For those of you who don't know, he only has one hand.
He is actually in the new Nike ad, by the way.
Yes. But yeah, so he's starting linebacker for the Seahawks. His brother plays for the Seahawks also, but has two hands. And
they are not playing at Allstate Field. Or is that
State Farm?
State Farm. Does State Farm have the good hands, or was that Allstate?
Oh, Allstate.
Allstate, you're in good hands. God, could you imagine if Allstate would have signed it for the Cardinals?
Yeah, the Cardinals have a new stadium name. That's what he's referring to.
Because I guess that was somewhat big news. A lot of people were ramping about it the other day. What are you going to call a new State Farm Stadium? As the deal with the University of Phoenix has ended. It's now going to be University of Phoenix Stadium. It is now going to be State Farm Stadium. So keep the same colors, all red. I was like really expecting like some like outlandish like yellow and blue company to come in.
I told you, I go, because all the other arenas in town are named after casinos.
Oh yeah.
So I told you, I was like, what casino is going to be on this? Casino is going to be on this stadium now, you know.
I told myself that, or like Wells Fargo maybe, because like what you got Chase Field, like I don't know, maybe if like the other bank wants to like hop in, because wasn't Chase Field used to be what, Capital One Field?
No,
right?
it was Bob Bankman Ballpark, and then Chase bought Bank One Ballpark. And
Bank One, that's right.
I think that contract's still going.
So,
and then, Talking Stick is, of course, where the Suns and Mercury and all those guys
play. You have Gila River Arena, where the Coyotes play.
Which is a casino. So I was expecting a casino. When you said State Farm, I was like, oh, really? Wow, really?
Oh, yeah. I was totally like, hey, I know Talking Stick, they're not making any money right now, so it's not going to be them. Them getting flooded out. I'm surprised it wasn't Top Golf, man. Like, Top Golf's like everywhere in Arizona. I'm going to call it Top Golf Stadium. That'd been awesome.
Top Golf doesn't make enough money to do that.
Could have gone out and fired some Top Golf before games and
Earl Thomas apparently isn't being traded to your Cowboys. How do you feel about that? Because he reported the Seahawks today.
I'm a fan. I didn't really care too much for Earl Thomas. Thought it would have been cool because he wanted to come and play here. Obviously, childhood dream, play for your team on your lean years. So whatevs. I mean, he didn't just hold out. Good for him. About time.
Well, I mean, he had a report because you don't want to lose game checks,
right.
But, I mean, they were... Adam Schefter was reporting that the Cowboys are increasing their offers yesterday trying to get Earl Thomas.
Yeah, they were at 3 2 days ago. Seattle said no. They're like, all right, we'll give you 2. Like, no. It's like, we're not giving you a 1, all right? Like, just give us Earl Thomas, which kind of leads me to believe that the Cowboys think they're going to suck this year since they weren't willing to give up a number 1. And they were expecting it to be
the Cowboys are going to suck?
Yeah, so I think the Cowboys might already feel like they're going to suck this year.
God,
that's why they didn't give them a number 1.
Look at their division, man. Like, nobody knows. Like, you never know how Washington's going to be. Like, if Washington won 14 games this year, 12 games this year, you wouldn't be surprised. And if they went 1 and whatever, you wouldn't be surprised, right? Like, Washington's always that weird team where you never know.
The NFC East in general is that weird team. Like, it's literally been somebody different every year the last 10 years, man. And the years the Giants won these Super Bowls, they weren't even they were the wild card teams.
Exactly.
So it's so weird. What is going to be of the NFC East? I don't know. It's a crapshoot.
You don't know what the Giants are going to do. They're going to be better than 3 and whatever.
Yeah,
but you don't know how good they're going to be. If they stay healthy, they're probably a favorite to win that division, especially with the running back,
Saquon
Barkley back there. They got to be a favorite to win the division. But I did see that the Cowboys' odds dropped. If Carson Wentz comes back, the Cowboys' odds drop to 1.7% chance.
I saw that
Super Bowl.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah, but. It's at 4% now with Nick Foles playing. So it's not like you have good odds now. But the Eagles, the problem with teams that go to the Super Bowl, of course, is injuries. You got the hangover, but then you got the injuries coming, and all that stuff. So that's the other thing. The Eagles can literally go out there. I mean, a lot of teams don't make the playoffs the years after they go to the Super Bowl.
And you just don't know what you're going to get with the Eagles, especially at the quarterback position. I mean, obviously Carson Wentz, he is doing cuts and everything, but can't do contact drills yet. So when he gets cleared for that, obviously you want to give him a week or 2 of getting contact. He's not going to get cleared on Thursday. Then you're playing Sunday.
When did he do the injury? Wasn't it November? Where
it was late. It was might have been late November, early December.
It's a full 8 to 12 months to recover from that. For those guys, for you and me, it'd be a longer.
And then with Nick Foles too, he looked great in the playoffs. But I mean, we've seen this Nick Foles before. I mean, he looked badass with the Rams. Then he just looked like dog shit. Looked badass for a game or 2 with the Chiefs. Then looked like dog shit. We could get dog shit Nick Foles, to start this season off, and people are like, who the hell is this guy? And then, you got Alex Smith with the Redskins. He had a good deal going to Kansas City. I don't know how well that's going to translate to Washington. I think it's going to translate a little better than what people think because
he's got a quarterback.
Kirk Cousins really wasn't that, big, main, gunslinger type quarterback. He did have his gunslinging moments. Really great. Alex Smith's always kind of been one of those dink and dunk kind of guys, but last year I thought Alex Smith, first 8 weeks of the season, he was the MVP of the league.
If I had to start a team and you couldn't get a superstar, but Alex Smith was available, I'd have him on my team tomorrow. He's a solid quarterback, doesn't make mistakes. He might not get you the long, plays or things like that, but he's going to keep you in games. You're not going to lose games because of him. He's a solid quarterback on that front. I actually was telling you that I think Washington's going to be better this year because Alex Smith's on. Because I saw a lot of games where Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback, but I also saw a lot of games, one specifically here in Phoenix, where he throws 5 interceptions in a game and just looks like he's never played before. So Kirk Cousins has those too. And, it's just with all this quarterback deal and the money he got in Minnesota, God, I don't root against Minnesota per se. I'm not a fan, but I don't root against them. But God, I would love to see Minnesota win like 3 games this year after signing Kirk Cousins to all that money. Like
that defense is at least going to win them 6.
I know. So, they're solid on defense. I'll give them that. I know it's not going to happen, but that's the thing, man. Imagine that division. Like even Chicago's, they're up and coming, so they're not. You don't expect them to win that division. But with Aaron Rodgers there against the Vikings, now you got the Bears with Khalil Mack, who's going to destroy.
The funny thing about the North, which I don't want to get too much into other divisions right now because we're having our main event NFL preview on Saturday with Adam Michaels in studio. But I saw one of my old instructors at the Alma Media School, Jonathan Hood, works for ESPN 1000 up there in Chicago, does Sirius XM NBA stuff. He actually posted who's the second best player in the NFC North behind Aaron Rodgers. And everybody's like, well, it's got to be Khalil Mack now, right? Like, the Bears literally went from having, like, no players in, the top 20 in the NFC North to, like, man, we got Khalil Mack. He's number 2 now. Like, some would probably say he might pass Rodgers here in the next couple of years. Like, we'll see. So, anyways.
So since we're not going to preview, we're not previewing that. Your Anaheim Angels, that you're not a fan of.
Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Get it correct, please, sir?
I call them the Angels because they're the Anaheim Angels to me, from where I am from. But, they went through that deal where Ohtani's just going to rehab on his own. He's just going to bat, goes out there, pitches, Sunday Night Baseball, pitches pretty well, gets the L, and then goes down on Tommy John surgery today. So he's out for at least a year, and then not going to be a standard pitcher for a year and a half. So I know you were happy about, what the heck are they doing? Because even I was like...
I wasn't happy about the guy getting hurt. I was like...
I know, but you were like, what? You were like me. Why didn't they just do this earlier? Because... talk of him going down for Tommy John was like March, right? I mean, it was May, but, it felt like forever. And then my favorite story of the year is the Nats GM Rizzo indicates Martinez to return for 2019. So all this talent on the Nationals that now they've jettisoned a lot of it. They're going to lose Bryce Harper this year. So I guess keep a crappy coach that doesn't win with the talent because you're not going to have any next year. Is that the thinking there?
Probably. You can't you don't want to bring in a guy who you're going to fire later that year, so might as well just bring in,
Yeah. So baseball's going good. I mean, Diamondbacks just had a tough series against the Dodgers, and the Colorado Dodgers and Diamondbacks are in the thing. It's an exciting time in September. This is the time of year I get excited about baseball. So
looking forward to more baseball talk, but I'm telling you right now, if you like football, this show's going to be dominated with football. Football. Hopefully we don't have to get on any more 35-minute long talks about Colin Kaepernick and Nike. Hopefully that's all over with, because the rule is in place. You better stand the hell up, you sons of bitch, or you can get out. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Was that Trump right there? Did Trump?
No, that was a South Park guy. You can get out. This is our country. Anyways, do want to thank you all for listening. Hope you listened to the preview on Saturday. It's going to drop Saturday. This show's going to drop here in just a bit. Thanks for listening. Share it with your friends. God bless you. God bless the troops. And God bless America.
Put your testicles in the C-gap.